How's it going, everyone? Courier666 here. Today I wanted to talk about recipes for food, drinks, and potions that you need to know in the Elder Scrolls Online in 2024. So let's dig right into this. Food and drinks. There's a difference between the two. Your food is typically going to be associated with boosting max stats, max attributes. So max stamina, max magicka, max health. On the other hand, you have drinks, and drinks are going to increase the attributes recovery rates. Same thing, just other side of the board there. So you have your green foods, your blue foods, your purple foods, and then you even have delicacies which cover your gold foods, the event drops, and the quest related recipes you would have to do in order to get those. What I wanted to go over was basically that green food and drink is usually the go-to for parsing on dummies, and it's used in your daily crafting writs. Blue food is better for group content, and it's easier on the mats and gold rather than purple and those gold foods, right? It can be used for solo content, dungeons, things like that. I use blue food a lot of the time. Purple is common use at this point. It's all around good for most any content. However, as you do go up in quality and it covers more of those attributes, you do get lower values than blue food as a trade-off. So you're getting something, but you're losing something else. Your delicacies and your event foods down here, what you're looking at is usually it's focusing on other in-game utilities, and it kind of bridges the gap between food and drink in the way that it's going to offer max attribute, and it's going to sometimes offer a recovery rate as well, and that's going to come from the food and drink side of delicacies. So moving into what I feel is best in slot is going to be dependent upon the ingredients you have. I'm only suggesting these because these are typically cheaper materials for you to either purchase, or they're more abundant and you can find them all over the place. So the best in slot for green food is going to be your thrice baked grapple pie for magicka users. On the other hand, for stamina users, you want to use Braville's Best Beet Risotto, and so that's going to boost just the max stamina value. For blue foods, in the same best in slot category, starting with the magicka users, you have Mistral Banana Bunny Hash, and so that's going to boost max health and max magicka at a pretty good rate. And then on the other hand of things, for stamina users, we have Braised Rabbit with Spring Vegetables. So max health, max stamina. Again, recipes have been selected just for the general purpose that these ingredients are more abundant, easier to come by, cheaper. And then going to the purple and the tri-stat foods, you have longfin pasty with melon sauce. So longfin pasty with melon sauce, tri-stat food, and then just to give you an idea for a drink that would go well with this one, just because we didn't cover any drinks anywhere else, there's the Senshi Tiger Single Malt. So then moving into delicacies. So with the delicacies, you have Bewitched Sugar Skulls. Bewitched Sugar Skulls makes the list due to its popularity over longfin pasty with melon sauce, and because it has been widely spread that it is one of the better foods for PvE content. It's just generalized, it's mass produced, you can find it on every guild trader. This recipe drops during the Witches Festival in October, so that's up and coming. No need to go out and try and find or purchase this recipe. In all fairness, there are a lot of other options. So Jewels of Misrule is the next one on this list. It's going to increase stamina and magicka recovery and your max health. It is the cheaper alternative and version of Orzaga's Smoked Bear Haunch, which is going to do almost the same thing, but at a better rate. Also, it's giving you health recovery instead, where Jewels of Misrule does not give the health recovery. And so all it is, the difference between the two is Jewels of Misrule is a little bit cheaper, doesn't offer the health recovery. Orzaga's Bear Haunch is better if you can afford it. It is more expensive with the perfect row. So Jewels of Misrule is going to drop with the Jester's Festival, and Orzaga's Smoked Bear Haunch is going to drop from quests given in Orsinium DLC. No need for you to go out and purchase this recipe. A lot of people get gouged for this one. It's relatively simple for you to get. So from this point in the video, I want to split it from Magicka and Stamina when we're discussing the delicacies, just to make it easier and so that people can skip to whatever portion relates best to them. So starting off for the Magicka side of the delicacies, we have Artaeum Pickled Fish Bowl. It's going to be an expensive recipe with the clam gall, and I'm not recommending it for everyday dungeon crawling in the slightest. What it's going to do here is going to do one of those in-game utilities that I had mentioned. It's going to increase your chance of catching higher quality fish. So that is good, especially if you're fishing alone and you're trying to get that achievement done. You can get this recipe from fishing in the fishing holes in Artaeum. Random drop, but it is a bound recipe, so you cannot trade this recipe. Next up is Clockwork Citrus Fillet. So Clockwork Citrus Fillet is going to offer max health, health recovery, max magicka, and magicka recovery at decent values. It is an expensive food requiring perfect row. So this recipe is going to drop in the Clockwork City DLC, and it can be found in the Outlaw's Refuge, I believe is where the quest line starts. Switching over to drinks, we have Corrupting Bloody Mara. It's going to offer max magicka, max health, and health recovery at a really good rate of 505, just a small bump from Bewitched Sugar Skulls, but it does help those vamped characters that are trying to increase their stage to 4, and you can use another recipe on the list, the Purifying Bloody Mara, in order to bump that stage 4 vampirism down to stage 3, as Purifying only does one bump at a time. Corrupting shoots you straight up to 4. And so it's going to offer max magicka and max health. Ghastly Eyeball makes the list with max magicka and magicka recovery for 2 hours, really good rates. And then lastly, I want to say Witch Mother's Potent Brew. So max magicka, max health, magicka recovery. So for those, they're all going to drop with the Witches Festival, again, upcoming in October. A lot of those foods are going to be used in PvE. I would say that you could run Witch Mother's Potent Brew in PvE or PvP. And then the last one for Magicka users is Orzorga's Red Frothgar. So this is going to drop from quests done in Orsinium, the same quest line, in order to get Orzaga's Smoked Bear Haunch. Again, don't get gouged for these when you can go out and do the quests yourselves, and it takes maybe 30 minutes for all 3 or 4 quests. Flipping to the stamina side of things, we have Artaeum Takeaway Broth. Artaeum Takeaway Broth is expensive. It's going to cost Powdered Mother Pearl. It is not something that I am, again, recommending for everyday use. It could be and should be useful to somebody playing PvE or PvP if it is something that you can afford to craft. I would not recommend trying to take on overworld content with this, as its cost to its benefit ratio there with cheaper options available to you it just is not prevalent. You can get this from fishing in Artaeum, same as the Artaeum Pickled Fish Bowl. Next up, you have Lavafoot Soup and Saltreese, which is going to increase max stamina and stamina recovery. This recipe drops with the New Life Festival. It is really good for PvE content, and you can actually see your stamina boosts and stamina recoveries, as I've played around with this one quite a lot, and I do prefer this for a lot of overworld content and even some of my dungeon crawling content where I don't need to have that max health boost. Now swapping over to the drink sides of things for stamina users, you're looking at the Bergamo Warning Fire. Bergamo Warning Fire is going to do max stamina and do health recovery, and it's going to drop with the New Life Festival as well, so that's at the end of the year. Then we have Dubious Comoran Throne. Dubious Comoran Throne is going to increase stamina recovery, it's going to do max stamina, and max health for 2 hours. I do think this one is something that could be run in PvE and PvP. I've used it in both. I've succeeded in both sides of ESO's content by using this recipe. It drops with the Jester's Festival, and it's pretty pricey right now. The next Jester's Festival isn't till about April of next year. Last on the list for stamina users, we have Pack Leader's Bone Broth. It's going to increase max stamina, max health for 2 hours. And again, it's another utility food, so it's going to help with the werewolves and their transformation. So it just makes it a little bit quicker when you're breaking into werewolf form. That's about it. It's not just some description. It does actually do something for you there in the way of utility. It's going to drop with the Witches Festival up here in October as well. Something that werewolves should look out for. It's good for PvE, PvP in both regards for exactly that purpose and those. So moving on from the food and drinks of things, we have potions. And so the potions I selected are actually what ESO Hub has posted on their website. So you have the heroism potion, the weapon power potion, spell power, tri-stat, and immovability. So heroism potion is going to be useful in a lot of support roles. And I want to bring it up on screen so that you can follow along with the required ingredients here. So the required ingredients for heroism potions is going to be Dragon's Blood, Dragon Room, and Columbine. And so it's going to grant you major intellect, it's going to grant you major endurance, and it's going to give you minor heroism. So obviously right there, the one ultimate every 1.5 seconds. Just that little bit of a bump. It is a very expensive potion to make, but it is a useful recipe to know. Next up is the Weapon Power Potion, and the Weapon Power Potion is going to require Blessed Thistle, Dragonthorn, and Wormwood. So it's going to grant major brutality, increase weapon damage, major savagery, it's going to be the critical rating, not the damage, and then major endurance, which is stamina recovery and gives you stamina back. And because we covered weapon pots, we're going to cover spell power pots. So that's going to require Cornflower, Lady Smock, and Water Hyacinth. So it's going to grant major sorcery, spell damage, major prophecy, spell critical rating, again the chance not the damage, and then major intellect, which is going to give you the magicka recovery, and it's going to give you magicka immediately. And last on the list is the immovability potion. So there's two recipes here, two versions. The first one on the screen is Columbine, Mountain Flower, and Namir's Rot. It's going to do two effects the same on both recipes. So immunity to knockback and disabling effects, and major fortitude. With this recipe, this is for stamina users, as it's going to grant major endurance. If we replace Mountain Flower with Bugloss, you will then make it for magicka users, as it's going to grant major intellect instead of major endurance. So the recipe here again is Columbine, Mountain Flower, and Namir's Rot for stamina users, and Columbine, Bugloss, and Namir's Rot for magicka users. That's going to wrap us up for today, guys. I hope you found the video useful or helpful. If you leave a like or subscribe, it really does help the channel. I have more videos to come. Thanks for watching. This has been Courier666 signing off. See you in the next one.